From Culiacan, Mexico, Julio Cesar Chavez.
Julio Cesar Chavez is considered one of the greatest fighters of all time, and perhaps the best Mexican boxer ever. But what accounts for Chavez's success? How did he score 89 wins without suffering defeat? In this video, we're gonna analyze what made Chavez such a terror, and why his style, although simple, is more difficult to pull off than it appears. Chavez was a pressure fighter who eviscerated foes with his vicious two-handed attack.
Chavez goes to work and ends the fight sensationally.
He's up at 9, but it's over. Goes lead, waves it off. It's all over here in the 4th round.
The highlight of his fury came via his surgical bodywork. The benefit of fighting a come-forward puncher is that he will open up first, which leaves him vulnerable to counters. But Chavez was defensively sound, able to make his opponents miss while he advanced. He also possessed a granite chin, which probably filled him with the confidence needed to pressure opponents. Incidentally, according to legend, a CT scan demonstrated that Chavez had an abnormally thick skull, and as if skill and mutation wasn't enough, a prime Chavez was also superbly conditioned, meaning he could maintain his intense attack for all 12 rounds. All of this allowed him to beat the best names of his era. It all started on September 13, 1984. As a relative unknown, Chavez won his first title against Mario Martinez, the reigning WBC super featherweight champion. Chavez methodically dismantled him en route to an 8th-round stoppage. Chavez defended his title, stopping veteran Ruben Castillo in the 6th round. In 1985, Chavez defended against the former champion, Roger Mayweather. Mayweather was a tall, lanky boxer-puncher, notorious for his big right hand. The fight proved a short spectacle, as Chavez disposed of Mayweather in the 2nd round. Chavez defended his title 7 more times before moving up to the lightweight division. Still only 25 years of age, Chavez took on the dangerous Edwin Rosario. Like Mayweather, Rosario's right hand packed dynamite, and many wondered whether Chavez could successfully advance on a big puncher. The bout took place in 1987 and marked the first appearance of Chavez and his team wearing red bandanas. The story goes that Rosario had allegedly hexed Chavez via a witch doctor. Chavez somehow heard the rumor and contracted his own warlock to counter the spell. The solution was to wear a red bandana, which would somehow repel the negative energy thrown against him. The tactic seemed to work, as Chavez walked through Rosario's right hands and dissected him en route to an 11th-round stoppage. The bout remains one of Chavez's finest performances. Let's take a closer look at how Chavez imposed his style on Rosario. Alright, so we're gonna take a look at these clips in real time and then slow them down. Alright, looking at Chavez's feet, we can see that he's advancing on his rear foot, which looks unconventional at first, until you see that he's doing it to transition over to his left as Rosario circles away from him. So Chavez advances on his rear foot and then extends the lead one to his left to corral Rosario. He gallops towards him, but then halts to avoid a jab. Then, he steps in slightly and weaves under 2 jabs before retreating. So already he's pressuring without firing a single shot. Alright, let's take a look at this one here. Chavez feints as he steps in, slightly flicks his left, changes levels by dipping, which tells Rosario to open up with a left that ends up leaving him vulnerable for an overhand right. Now, Chavez's feet are scoring him up here as he lifted that rear leg, so he repositions his stance while he fires a throwaway uppercut, and you can just see Chavez looking for that hook to deliver, the way he's dipping down there. He hesitates for a microsecond, but it's enough for Rosario to cuff him behind the head and smother him. Alright, let's watch this 3rd clip here in real time. You can see Chavez pressuring him. Okay, so Rosario circles to his right, so Chavez advances slightly on his front foot, then his rear one follows. And after that, you see his feet are too close, so he pulls his front foot to the left, cut off Rosario's movement. This is followed by a hop to speed up the process. Chavez then steps in with the front foot. Now Rosario sees him coming, so he fires a right hand, which Chavez slips. Chavez brings back his rear foot and misses with his uppercut. Rosario manages to nick him, but Chavez repositions his weight onto his right foot. Notice how he lifts his elbow not only as he anticipates an incoming right hand, but perhaps also to pin Rosario in place. Chavez fires a right, but Rosario shoves him off. Chavez regains his stance, advances, and slips another jab. He parries a jab, and then advances on Rosario. He takes a small step with his front foot, and then immediately brings the rear one forward. So he's half shifting in there, but he's squared up, See how his feet are parallel? So as soon as he moves the rear foot forward, he does the same with the lead foot, but also to cajole his way on the inside. Once inside, he remains defensively responsible. Let's watch the fourth clip here. Okay. Now Chavez sees something coming, so he keeps that right pinned to his cheek and the elbow tight for a body shot. Rosario grazes him with a left uppercut, and Chavez raises that left elbow, bracing for an incoming right. He pushes Rosario onto a corner and catches an uppercut, but Chavez keeps his chin tucked, so the punch doesn't snap his head back that much. He takes it and advances on Rosario, who fires a left. Chavez leans away. Now notice how he keeps that chin tucked. Rosario follows it up with a right, but Chavez is already lifting the left elbow to roll with the shot. Then, he continues sticking to Rosario. As mentioned earlier, Rosario had a long, crackling right hand, so Chavez's plan was to smother it by fighting in close quarters. Alright, here we see another example of Chavez working his way in. Now Chavez steps back and then leans to his left. Rosario sees him return to the middle axis and fires a right. Chavez dips to his own right and comes back up. As he does so, Chavez keeps that right glove pinned to his chin. He sees the left coming and he weaves under the shot, taking another step back. Right afterwards, he sits down as he's about to throw a right. Rosario, though, braces himself for a left hook downstairs. The two appear to butt heads, but now Chavez is on the inside, right where he wants to be. Alright, let's watch clip number 6 here. More of Chavez sticking to Rosario. Alright, so Rosario hits Chavez with a jab there, but Chavez slips to right. As he's slipping the shot, Chavez advances on his rear leg before stepping in with the front one to be on balance. Now notice how he remains a small target. His chin is down, and his gloves are protecting his chin while the elbows remain tucked to block the body shots. Then look at Chavez's feet. He moves to his right, but does it with the rear foot. He finds he's not in full equilibrium, so he extends his lead foot towards his left. Rosario fires a right uppercut, and Chavez is looking to move left in order to dig to the liver. Instead, he chooses to lean back from the incoming left hook and then weaves under the 1-2. Again, he creeps in by advancing on his rear foot, weaves on the inside, and then pushes Rosario back as he smothers him. Alright, let's watch clip number 7 here. Some movement and a hook. Alright, Rosario sits down. He's probably expecting a hook to the body, so he probably dipped in order to cover that core. So, Chavez changes angles with his rear foot towards his right, and then changes again. See how he moves the lead foot towards the right, and then resets the rear one? This is what you do when you want to dig to the body up close. Or instead, he changes the angles again and pushes Rosario back. Now notice how compact Chavez is right now. He fires a throwaway left uppercut and then digs to the body. Immediately, he lifts the guard as he smothers Rosario. Alright, let's watch another clip here. Chavez has Rosario on the ropes. He's pressuring. Alright, so Chavez fires a throwaway left uppercut, like in the last clip. But instead of digging to the body afterwards, he fires a quick mid-range right hand, and then he fires the body shot. That's a classic shovel hook right there, meaning it's going in an upward angle, right underneath and behind the elbow. After firing it, Chavez raises the left elbow to keep Rosario in place, or in case Rosario replies with a right hand. Rosario finally fires it, but Chavez slips and parries it, and then steps into his left. Notice again how compact Chavez remains with his right hand and elbow covering up. Chavez then returns to the middle in front of Rosario and lands a jab. Rosario dips to his left, but Chavez slides to his right to keep him pinned on the ropes. Alright, so by 1989, Chavez had unified the lightweight division. He moved up to super lightweight and took on an old foe, Roger Mayweather, now a champion at 140 pounds. This time, conscious of his foe's power, Mayweather moved more, constantly trying to keep Chavez from setting his feet. And he scored with his share of shots.
Good right hand by Mayweather.
Mayweather is moving more than we've seen him before.
But Chavez was relentless and ultimately wore Mayweather down, forcing him to retire in the 10th round.
Very best in this.
They have
They
stopped the fight.
Champion now in a third weight class.
Alright, let's watch this clip here. Mayweather moving, flicking the jab. So Chavez steps in with his front foot and then moves to the right with his back foot. Mayweather feints and Chavez reacts. Notice how Chavez often keeps that left glued to his chin when he parries. He's very cautious of Mayweather's right hand. Mayweather jabs, Chavez slips it, and simultaneously moves in and steps to the side, cutting the ring off. Count the steps there from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the 7 is more of a small leap. Chavez stuck to Mayweather without getting hit, and Mayweather felt that pressure, which explains him going for the clinch. Later in the bout, Mayweather tries to counter the pressure with punching, but early on here he's going for the dark arts, like clinching and cuffing behind the head. Now let's watch this in real time. Chavez coming forward, moving the head. Alright, so Mayweather is jabbing and moving. Chavez parries and walks with him. Chavez jabs, and Mayweather hops back. You can see Chavez overextending as his upper body lurches ahead of his feet, and he manages to stop from barging into Mayweather, who ends up missing with the right hand. Mayweather moves to his left, and Chavez extends his rear foot towards his right to cut the ring off, while simultaneously weaving as he anticipates another jab from Mayweather. And sure enough, Mayweather jabs, and Chavez parries it. Mayweather continues circling to his left, and Chavez follows him by advancing on his front foot. He then extends his rear foot towards the right to cut him off, and shifts as he does so. In other words, he's switching stances. This allows him to get the angle in on Mayweather, and catches him with a hard left that shakes Mayweather up. Here's a clip of one of the things you need to pressure, which is good defense. You can see Chavez slip the jab and returns the head to the middle axis. But just as soon as he does, he dips down and then weaves. He sees the right hand coming and he dips down again. As Chavez is rising back up, Mayweather fires a left uppercut. But Chavez is compact because he's dipping low and moving his head. He doesn't need to keep his guard all that high. Now in this instance, it works, as it allows him to block that uppercut. Mayweather doubles up on that uppercut, and this time Chavez seems to run into it as he dips down again. But Chavez rises and half evades the right hand. Chavez weaves to his right and then ducks the left hand. He appears to block the left and then slips a jab. Continues advancing on Mayweather and then parries the jab. So we saw Mayweather throw approximately 10 shots and only managed to half land 2 of them. So, how does Chavez do it? Well, notice he's not exaggerating the movement. In other words, he's moving a couple of inches, nothing more. This is because after you slip a shot or weave, you eventually have to return to the middle axis. If you move too much, it takes more time to return to it, and it can leave you in a vulnerable position or one in which you're unable to counter. Now, the benefit of moving a couple of inches is that it allows you to continue moving after reaching that middle axis, the way Chavez does here. Now, obviously this has to be done quickly, but it does take practice, as many inexperienced or unstable fighters tend to move for the sake of it. This allows for an experienced foe to just fire throwaway shots and let his opponent burn out with excessive movement.
And Chavez again invites him in. And look at this head movement by Chavez.
Chavez just playing. Cat and mouse.
Now this clip here just shows Chavez doing more shifting. It's a basic move here. He distracted Mayweather by slipping 3 times. You see here he steps off to the right with his rear foot on the second slip there, and then on the third he pulls his lead foot back. Finally, he steps in with the right foot, which is now his lead foot, and launches that left hand. Let's watch this clip of an exchange here. Alright. Right, so Chavez feints with the right hand and launches a lead left hook. Mayweather catches him with the right hand, but then backs up in a straight line. Chavez doesn't let up and launches a right hand of his own. Chavez feints and Mayweather pivots away, stopping to launch a right hand. But Chavez stops and the right whizzes by him. He slips to his left, probably trying to set up a left hook, but Mayweather, probably tired by this point, runs out of ideas and goes for a clinch. Let's watch this clip here, both guys firing in full battle mode. Alright, so Chavez rolls his chin away from a right uppercut and creeps his way forward. He dips down, is lucky to avoid that left uppercut, and gets shoved back. But Chavez propels himself afterwards with a lead right hand, shifts, and lands a little left. Mayweather eats it and counters with a right hand. Chavez parries it and resets his feet onto his orthodox stance. Mayweather gets sloppy and neglects his defense after the right. So Chavez attacks with a punch on the right of his own. Chavez continues moving his feet to shift and avoids Mayweather's reply. He appears to get caught with a right as he continues shifting. He fires a jab, which Mayweather slips. Chavez takes advantage to change the angle on him toward the right and then meets a rising Mayweather with a left. Mayweather counters with a right, but Chavez slips the following 1-2 and advances, forcing Mayweather to clinch. Mayweather had some success, but he couldn't keep up with Chavez's skill for skill and resorted to stalling. Ultimately, Chavez's technique, conditioning, and power paved the way for a stop-edge victory. Now, one thing we haven't talked about is Chavez's body attack. It mainly consists of this whipping left hook to the body. Sometimes Chavez opens it too wide in order to get behind the elbow. But you'll see he often puts a lot of weight on it, and he does it quickly. Look how he digs upward to get to the liver. Look at the shot's fluidity. That's a punch he probably practiced thousands of times throughout sparring and in his bag work. Also, one note about that liver shot. For years, I used to try to turn my upper body a lot towards my right to try to punch through the target with that punch. But the critical component of the liver shot is that you don't have to throw it that hard for it to hurt, as the liver is not fully protected by the ribcage. So you do turn the body when you're throwing the shot, but the energy should be flowing forward, not sideways. I'll let the great Sugar Ray Leonard explain it.
Don't push your body. Just tip it. But instead of pulling out, pull in. Go forward. They go, you see the power. All this comes from it. If you go this way, you take away the leverage.
Now see how Chavez throws it? Imagine the punch continued traveling through the target. Chavez's fist wouldn't go flying fully towards the right. It would continue in a more forward arc. So the weight is going slightly forward and not all the way sideways. Finally, let's see how he sets up that shot. Now, one of Chavez's preferred methods was to launch a lot of right hands. This would make his opponents cover up. Look at this clip how he feints, as if he's about to launch a right hand. It makes Terrence Ali dip a little bit, shell up, which leaves him open for a liver shot. Then, Chavez steps in with the right, shifts his weight to the left, and loads up on body shots. Let's take a look at this clip in slow motion. You see Chavez creeping in, inch by inch. He slips Ali's jab, touches Ali with a left to the body, just to distract him. Ali tries to dip and roll with the right, but he's too slow and eats it. Now look at Chavez's feet. He places the rear foot outward to the right to get a better angle. He does the same with the front foot slightly, and then digs in with a wallop that doubles Ali over. He ends up by doubling up on the hook and then steps back with his right hand up to block an incoming shot. So, those were some of Chavez's pressure tactics. However, it should be noted that Chavez could box when he wanted to. In 1986, Chavez took on the rugged veteran, Rocky Lockridge. Lockridge had lost close decisions to champions Eusebio Pedraza and a highly controversial one to Wilfredo Gomez. In this bout, Chavez displayed his usual array of power shots and body blows, but also spent many moments on the back foot. Years later, Chavez briefly trained with the legendary Emmanuel Stewart, who was in the middle of his mercenary trainer phase. Stewart would later recall watching a sparring session in which Chavez boxed on the retreat. Stewart asked him why he didn't do it more often in his professional bouts, and Chavez replied that his opponents were too busy moving away from him. In the Lockridge bout, however, we see Chavez being the matador. Let's watch this clip here in real time. Some exchanges going on, alright? Alright, so we see Chavez retreat here, shuffling away to the sides. He stops, feints, and flicks a jab. Lockridge dips to his right, so Chavez moves while his foe is momentarily locked in place. Lockridge attacks the body, and Chavez covers up while moving. Notice that Chavez is shifting away here, and he stops in the southpaw stance to deliver a left uppercut. Chavez returns to his orthodox stance and weaves to evade Lockridge's shots. He returns with a left body shot, but Lockridge blocks it and returns fire. Chavez, however, is compact, and he blocks and rolls with it. Alright, let's watch this in real time. A little footwork here. Alright, Chavez adds a little deception here, bouncing a little to lull Lockridge into sleep. Then changes levels and comes in with an overhand right. Lockridge sees it coming, he smothers it, and fires a left hook to the hip there. Notice how Chavez changes the angle slightly there. See how he moves the rear leg to the left and then immediately does the same with the front one to avoid being off balance. Then, as Lockridge attacks, Chavez pivots and shuffles away. Lockridge pressures, but Chavez slips the shot, and while Lockridge is off balance, Chavez simply pivots away, thus forcing Lockridge to reset. Let's watch this one in real time here, some good shots being thrown. Alright, so Chavez jabs on the move there a little bit. He bounces back, but catches an incoming Lockridge with a right hand and pivots to the left. Lockridge continues pressuring, giving Chavez a taste of his own medicine. Chavez nicks him with a right uppercut and pivots away before firing a 1-2. So you see economical movement here from Chavez. He's not running, and he remains close enough to counter. Hit and don't get hit. So what do you guys think about pressure fighting? Did Chavez's style represent the state of the art? Who else in the current landscape can match or at least come close to applying the same level of craft that he could? Let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our Patreon videos for free, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy. Thanks for watching.